to say this is the only time I've ever got to do what I'm going to call a Shed X talk, because it's kind of a medium-sized shed. So this project is called Dark Sky Ecotourism, and it's a really fabulous project. It's got partners from Ireland, which is Technological University of the Shannon, and of course it's written by Momentum. We have partners from Iceland, so I'm going to make you all jealous and show you a photo of you of our work in Iceland. Partners from Italy, from Denmark, and also from Portugal. What I want you to do before I start to explain what Dark Sky Ecotourism is I want you to imagine that you've gone back about 100 years in time and you float up over Europe and you look down and it's night time, and what would you see? What do you think you'd see if you looked at Europe? You'd see pitch blackness. You wouldn't see any nighttime lights, maybe the odd candlelight or whatever from 100 years ago. But you wouldn't see the huge amount of light pollution that we've got today across Europe. And this light pollution is growing at a rate of about 10% per year. And it's got really negative impacts for three main areas of our life. It's got really bad impact for human health. It disrupts how we sleep and our mental health and our well-being. It disrupts our economy because we're wasting too much money on energy. And it also has a really negative impact on biodiversity. It disrupts how insects and mammals and birds mate and migrate and navigate and various other things. So that's the origin of the project. Dark Sky Ecotourism is an emerging niche in this field, which brings together two aspects. It brings together the potential of dark sky tourism, where people will travel to take advantage of the wonderful frugal resource that's the night sky, to do things like astrophotography, stargazing, and viewing celestial events such as the Northern Lights. And it combines it with ecotourism. And ecotourism is about travel to rural and remote areas to be able to engage with pristine natural environments and make a positive impact on the ecology and environment of that area. So you take these two things together and you've potential for a really, really lovely project. So you've all these different elements here. You've got a night sky that's got low levels of light pollution. You've got an interesting environment and ecology. And you've got really low levels of light pollution that you try and protect as a community and develop rural businesses around. What we're doing with this project is we're creating a number of outputs that include a vocational education course, a website, a guide, and a mobile app. And these are aimed at small businesses, they're aimed at vocational education learners, and they're aimed at wider communities as well, to teach them about the value of reducing light pollution and therefore capitalising on all the interesting opportunities that emerge. These opportunities include creativity around things like adventure tourism activities that you could do at night. So for example, nighttime kayaking, nighttime safaris, nighttime stargazing and so on, and many wellness activities as well. And there's enormous potential for it in rural and remote areas, particularly in Western Europe and in Northern Europe as well. So it's a fantastic project. We're partners, as I said, from Hull University in Iceland, Momentum, Meridonia, TUS, EUBI, and ADC in Mora. And we have done two of our site visits. We have one more left this year to Italy, which we're very much looking forward to. So rapid fire, and I'm going to be very kind to our host and maybe probably have that done in 4 minutes so that you can distribute the minute between everyone else. Is that okay? Thanks very much.
My name's Tony Johnston and I'm Director of Research Development in the Faculty of Business and Hospitality in Technological University of the Shannon, and I'm based in Athlone, which is a beautiful town in the heart of Ireland. My role in the university is around developing research metrics, particularly around attracting research funding, PhD research development, publications, working with European partners, but most importantly doing meaningful applied research that makes a positive impact on environment, society and the local economy.
Great. And in terms of the tourism sector, it's facing quite a few challenges at the moment. What do you think are the two greatest challenges in your opinion?
There are two big challenges facing the sector at the moment. One is a short-term problem that's very much linked to the current economic situation, and this is the problem of inflation. Tourism businesses often have high costs, particularly around energy, and the very high labour costs and energy costs that tourism businesses have faced in the last year have caused some very Big difficulties which are short term but are really challenging for all areas of tourism. The other challenge that's a more long-term and strategic one is around environmental sustainability. Tourism is very resource intensive. It has very strong impacts on the environment, which historically have been quite negative, but potentially in future could be quite positive if packaged, educated and promoted correctly.
Okay. And are there any opportunities you perceive from these challenges, particularly around the tourism business?
In terms of sustainability, there's huge opportunities for tourism businesses that are interested in pursuing growth agendas that are very green centric. So for tourism businesses that are interested in environmental sustainability, ecology, biodiversity, making positive contributions towards the climate change agenda, there are very strong opportunities. I'll give a particular example, would be a project that we're working on which is about dark sky ecotourism, and this is about protecting areas of the night sky from light pollution for the benefit of SMEs who live and work in rural areas. This form of tourism is really good for biodiversity. It's really good for the economy because there's further business opportunities for entrepreneurs in rural areas, and it's also something that's very good for ecology and habitat in the region as well.
Great. And what about opportunities for tourism educators?
Tourism is a discipline that needs to be very flexible and needs to adapt rapidly. We've seen huge changes in tourism models over the last number of decades, particularly in the kinds of content we teach in universities and further in higher education. So it's moved very much from focusing on mass tourism markets and tourism marketing and management of large numbers of tourists to being very much focused on things like the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So a lot of tourism teaching at the moment has evolved towards topics like social inclusion, biodiversity, gender issues, human rights issues, water, poverty and so on. So there are a lot of opportunities in that space.
Speaking of gender issues, we're very interested in the leadership role that women play in the future of the tourism sector. Would you have any insights or ideas around this?
There's a lot of literature on the role of women in the tourism industry. One particular example that's always captured my imagination is the potential for tourism to act as a poverty alleviation tool. And this is really interesting to me when tourism is brought to rural areas where historically there haven't been many job opportunities for women, and tourism provides a way for women to lead in this sector and to get involved with bringing people to a region, maybe selling craft goods, working in hospitality, developing structures and frameworks that support the industry, and taking a real leadership and ownership of an industry in their region.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tony.